Am I the asshole for reporting my son's doctor after she shared his medical information with my mother-in-law? My F38 son 9 has a medical condition. We're struggling so much trying to do everything we can to help him deal and cope with his condition. It's been difficult enough without my mother-in-law getting involved and making decisions without talking to me and my husband first. She'd completely disregard our fears and concerns as parents and claim we don't know what's best for her grandson by trying to control doctors' appointments, arguing with doctors, criticizing and telling them how to do their job, bringing medication that her friend doctor prescribed without even diagnosing my son. She'd get mad if we don't comply and do what she tells us. Her latest stunt was showing up at my son's appointment and making a scene, resulting in me and my husband going no contact and changing the clinic by having my son's medical file transformed to another clinic. My mother-in-law was removed from any emergency contact we had before, and we made it clear to the new doctor to not share our son's medical information. My mother-in-law kept trying to find out what clinic, which doctor our son goes to, and she tried to guilty tip my husband and also get the family to pressure us into letting her know. No one realized the negative affect she had on my son's health and progress, and the family kept calling me awful and resentful because she's just worried for her grandson. Last week, I found out that my mother-in-law was at the clinic and was speaking to my son's pediatrician about my son's condition. My husband told me his mom called and told him she was talking to the doctor discussing our son's condition. He told me he didn't want to speak to his mom, but she called to let him know that she has a right to take part in her grandson's care and that we shouldn't try to hide things from her since she eventually was able to find out. I was livid. I was so angry I went to talk to the doctor about the conversation she had with my mother-in-law and the fact that she disclosed medical information after being told several times that this would cause us plenty of issues because of my mother-in-law's behavior. Mother-in-law is already trying to get involved and I just couldn't take it. I reported the doctor and filled an HIPAA complaint. I was told to back off, but I couldn't take this massive lack of professionalism on the doctor's part and the fact that now I'm having to deal with my mother-in-law's attempts to control the situation. My mother-in-law spread the news about the doctor and the whole family was stunned, saying my bitterness jeopardized the doctor's career and that she only shared information with my son's grandmother, not some stranger. Also said that I'm not being focused on my son and choosing to start arguments instead. Basically made it look like it's my fault. I'm so tired and I can't take it anymore. My husband agrees that I shouldn't have filed a complaint, like he has no problem with his mother now showing up at the clinic and causing scenes. Not the asshole. HIPAA laws are a big deal and your situation is exactly the kind that they are there for. Not the asshole. That's a huge violation. Honestly, you should go no contact and look into a restraining order. Absolutely not the asshole. This person shouldn't be a doctor. In your case, this is a mill who is seriously inappropriate and abusive, but from what you have said is not out to actively harm your child. An assumption on my part, that's not definitely true. However, there are probably patients in the clinic's care who are genuinely hiding from a violent abuser. Accessing medical records to allow abuse to continue is a massive no-no. The doctor's lax attitude could literally kill people one day. Info: Are you trying to treat a serious illness without standard medical treatments and medication? I saw you say that she was threatening to take it to court. I know that it can be considered criminal to not give children medications for diseases. Just wondering if there is more to this story. Not the asshole. You did well filling the complaining. There's a reason why you're supposed to protect the patient's information, and that's because you don't know what is going on in their lives. Maybe the grandmother was trying to blackmail you, maybe it was someone impersonating her, who knows? But it's completely unethical and unprofessional. I'd suggest you to take your kid to a psychologist as well. Use online therapy so you don't have to move from home, which would make it harder for your mill to know which one he's attending to. If the therapist suggests the mill stepping away because it's mentally scarring your son, make sure your husband is there to listen it. If things scale, go to the law and ask them for a restricted visiting time order by the judge. Not the asshole. People who say it was only the child's grandparent clearly have no understanding of HIPAA. It doesn't matter that she isn't a stranger, she has no right to your child's medical information unless you or your child want her to know. Yes, she is probably scared, but what she is doing is causing stress and confusion where it isn't needed. I think the rest of the family need to hear what happened and the problem she has caused from you. Info: Is your son being treated by a board-certified MD? You are the asshole until you confirm you're not some alternative medicine nut. Your post indicates that you and your mill are somehow in disagreement over your son's treatment. The most likely explanation for this is that one of you is advocating non-medical alternative treatment. Your refusal to answer questions on this makes me think it's you. By the way, all these people who have told you you're not the asshole are doing so assuming you are following the advice of a medical doctor and treating your son's condition appropriately using modern medicine. Edit. Spelling. Info. Which one of you two is following modern medicine and which is oils, herbs, thoughts and prayers? Also, the grandmother could have met with the pediatrician and been told nothing of consequence about the child's health. She could be making it up or exaggerating. I've met with families of patients because they have a right to make an appointment, ask to speak to the doctor, and no information was given away, just encouragement to talk to the designated person, family member, and reiterations of, "I'm sorry, I understand, I can't disclose anything." People hear what they want to hear. Info. Do you know that the doctor actually talked to your mill about your son and didn't just stonewall her? Info. Are you trying to treat your son's medical condition with holistic, alternative medicine and not taking advice from actual medical doctors? The only way your MIL's extreme actions make sense is if you're choosing to not use effective treatments backed by reputable research and going against the advice of most MDs. It also sounds like your husband is feeding your mill info, which would make sense if he also disagrees with your choices regarding your son and is worried. This seems pretty unbelievable, to be honest, or we aren't getting the full story. Is it possible your husband is playing both sides here? Keeping Mill in the loop and telling you he wants to be NC? How could your Mill figure out who the new doc was? And I have a really hard time believing a doctor would so obviously jeopardize their career. I mean, yeah, it can happen, but this just seems a little too out there. If this tale is true, not the asshole and y'all need to move far away. Not the asshole, you absolutely did the right thing. What the doctor did was illegal and immoral and she deserves to be sanctioned for it. Find a new doctor who follows the law. And while you're at it, get a lawyer and get a no-contact order for Mill. Info. What exactly is the mother-in-law doing or saying that is causing your son health issues? I don't really see anything like that being mentioned in the description of the thread. Is she being pro-vaccine and you're an anti-vaccine person, or is she being anti-vaccine and she's pro-vaccine? Is it something more to this? Info. Which one of you is the crazy naturopath in this situation? Because that directly affects who's the asshole. Info. Are you treating your child with essential oils or something? Feels like you're hiding some key information here. Because either she or you are crazy. Info. Do you know if your Mill claimed to be you? Usually we confirm who someone is using two forms of identification. We'd expect just parents to know, e.g. patient birthdate, address, but your Mill would know that info too. I mean this constructively, no offense intended. In a situation where everyone is against you, you should take a long hard look at yourself. You have left out many details that could be important, and this is anonymous. What is the medical condition? Is there any possible connection between lifestyle and this condition, e.g. obesity, diabetes, etc.? Why didn't you want mother-in-law to know, specifically, and why did she want to know? Why is it that everyone is against you? These are the people that know you and love you most. So either you're missing or ignoring some key element, or your whole support system sucks and is toxic. Info. What country are you in? This is pretty unbelievable. Not the asshole. If true, of course they should be reported. Not the asshole. And please go check out our Justnormal, as that sub is dedicated specifically to issues like the one you're having. Not the asshole. That doctor knew that they shouldn't share but did it anyway. Report to their licensing board and get a better doc. This doctor jeopardized their own career. Not you. You responded like any parent would. HIPAA exists for this reason. Info. Where the hell is your husband in all this? It sounds like he talks to his mom, but is he telling you the full story about their conversations? Is he leaking information? Maybe. I'm willing to bet he is, but he doesn't want you to get pissed off at him, so he's lying about not knowing how she knows. Sounds like your husband is the real issue here. If he's allowing this to happen because he can't stand up to his mom, or is dependent on her for everything and thinks only his mom can know what's best, if that's all the case, then sorry, but there's your issue. Sounds like a classic case of a man who never had his umbilical cord cut. Info. May have already been asked, but I can't find it, and if it has, it hasn't been answered. 1. What did the doctor say? I'm assuming she confirmed she gave info to Mill or took responsibility that what she did was wrong, but leaving out her response means that I have to ask, did the doctor confirm she told Mill anything? Mill could have been lying about the details of their conversation to prove her point or hope you'd give in and tell her something. Given Mil's history, I think it's important to know for sure you didn't just take her word for it. 2. How did Mill know you reported the doctor? Maybe you told her because you were so mad, but it's something a lot of people in the thread are wondering. Not the asshole. I'm a nurse and you are 100% in the right to report that doctor or any health professional that violates your son's privacy. Sorry you're dealing with screwy family members on top of your child's health. They're wrong 100% too. With your son's next MD, be sure and mention up front how you were forced to report the last doc and will do so again if the situation arises. Info. So after talking to the doctor they confirmed that they divulged information to someone that shouldn't have access. You don't really go into detail about the doctor's side of things, so people in the comments are suspecting that the only other person able to give your Mill authorization, your husband, went behind your back, which would be his fault and not the doctor. Absolutely not the asshole. I would follow through and remind the Mill that it is on her that you have to report the doc for HIPAA violations. She had no right and neither did the doctor. I'd also find a new doc if you can. Clearly this one is incompetent. Not the asshole. Your family is kinda dumb though. Info. Why is she so involved in medical care anyway? Did you depend on her to bring your son to the doctor? Are you 100% sure your husband did not give the doctor permission to speak with his mother? Not the asshole. Hopefully the doctor learned a lesson. HIPAA rules are there for a reason. The clinic will be extra careful from now on. Something tells me you are the asshole because you won't answer questions about whether or not you're using holistic medicine, and your Mill is trying to provide actual medical care. Sounds like you may be neglecting your child's medical condition whereas your Mill is actually trying to help. Unfortunate. People's children have died from medical neglect because they use holistic medicine. There's a reason it exists. Info. What kind of medical treatment are you seeking for your son? Honestly, this story feels like it's missing a lot of details. I can't put my finger on it, but something as a mother to a 12-year-old is just not adding up. My son's medical information has been shared with his grandparents with my written permission. I'm wondering if this was in the file and neglected that it was revoked. I've also been given medical information about other children, my 15-year-old niece, but that situation was because of you for parents and doctors and social workers being concerned. I only have my own experiences to fall back on, but it sounds like either the doctor gave general info to the grandma about a particular affliction, totally okay in my opinion, doesn't breach privacy, or there is a whole lot more to this story. I'm leaning towards Esh. I feel like part of this story is missing. I don't know why, but something smells here. Reporting someone for a HIPAA violation does not make you an A. But I'm skeptical that you're right and she's wrong. I'm also not sure I believe it was truly a HIPAA violation and it wasn't your husband blabbing. Not enough info to make a ruling here. Info op. You have left out a lot of information here. Other people have been asking some of these questions and you have yet to answer them. 1. How did Mill find out who your son's doctor was? 2. What kind of information did the doctor tell your Mill? 3. Have you been taking your son to a medical doctor or a holistic doctor? 4. Did the doctor actually confirm that she told your Mill medical information about your son? It could have just been a way to make you angry. If you're serious about who is wrong, what is the condition and what kind of treatment is your kid getting? I agree, the narrative of this story seems to purposefully circumvent important details, which is otherwise fine, except this is already an anonymous board, which begs the question why these otherwise helpful details aren't presented. Can't judge who the asshole is because that decision based on this is highly likely to have been manipulated. If you can confirm that it was the doctor who shared the info with your Mill, then not the asshole. Breaching HIPAA is taken pretty seriously by reporting agencies. The caveat is that you need look seriously at communication between your husband and Mill. If he's the one sharing info or allowing her to access info, then that's not on the doctor. Info. Does one of your approaches differ from medical consensus? Are you sure the doctor actually shared info though? The Mill can be there, but that doesn't mean any medical info was shared, so I wonder if you know for sure that information was leaked. Not the asshole but everyone else is. HIPAA was made a law due to privacy issues, and this is a clear example of why. It's possible that your mill got her doctor friend to talk to the new doctor, who then passed the info back to the mill. It's still a violation of the law, but that's the only situation I've seen 25 years medical insurance experience where a doctor has given out private info. Colleagues discussing a difficult case. The investigation will reveal all the details, and everyone involved may face federal penalties, monetary, licensing, and potential jail time. Not the asshole, he is your son, and if she is not on the list to discuss it with, then I would have filed as well. And made sure he was transferred again because of the issue. Not the asshole. That is medical malpractice. The doctor is not allowed to share your son's information to people she thinks should know. Info. Give us the details of the medical stuff. Info. It depends on what was being discussed between your mill and the doctor. If your mill told the doctor you are abusing your child, then the doctor does have some obligation to hear your mill out, as long as the doctor doesn't share HIPAA protected medical information. So yes, you can file a complaint, but that does not mean the doctor did anything wrong. You don't mention anything on what your child's pediatrician said about meeting with your mill when you confronted them, which I find odd. You sound like a loon as well. Info please. You are endangering your credibility by not responding to all of those who are asking for info. Clearly, something is not right. Your husband is fully on board with what his mother is doing as well, not liking as your action to file a complaint. Unless your doctor has been under a rock for 30 years, they would not knowingly violate HIPAA. Thus, Mill had permission to talk with the doc. And, in the age of COVID, what MD has the time to talk with a grandmother in person? Nor would they allow an appointment for same. This whole thing is full of holes. Time to speak up. ETA, typo. You are the asshole by refusing to give info about the treatments, but responding to everyone else comment. Seems like you're hiding something. Will revise my judgment if you answer the questions. Right now this is too suspect and way too much people said not the asshole without this crucial bit of information. And remember guys, it's not a HIPAA violation if the child is in danger. Info. I'm not sure I believe this. Are you allowing your child access to real, MD-certified medicine? Frankly, until we get some more information about the treatment you're advocating for use on your child, your mother might be the good guy in this situation. There's much more to the story than has been shared. Info. How did your mother-in-law find out that you made the HIPAA complaint? Who told you to back off the complaint? Is there any piece of info about how you're choosing to treat your son's condition that if stated would cause the majority of the population to think you are mistreating them? Even if your method is 100% valid and based on a more acute understanding that the majority of the population is ignorant of, what is that thing? Are you demanding treatments commonly associated with, even if mistakenly so, conspiracy theories, New Ageism, a religion of some kind? Or are you attempting to follow normal, run-of-the-mill procedures? Is autism a concern of yours when choosing whether or not to vaccinate your child?